Hey guys, popular YouTuber Hot Soup the Mighty here. Um, Today we're going to be doing a little post-recorded TF2 commentary. This is something that I've always kind of wanted to do. I was very active in the TF2 scene back in the days of Germa and Star, so I'm very this is always something that I've wanted to do a little bit, but I figured I didn't really know what to talk about, so I looked at the footage that I had from my stream, and I saw this VOD, which is me doing pretty well with the Huntsman. So I figured I'd do some maybe talk about the Huntsman, because that's a weapon that I really like. Probably one of my favorite weapons in the game, but it's also it's definitely one of the weapons that isn't up to its full potential, I think. Yeah, it's definitely one of the most fun weapons in the game, but it's also one of the most controversial. And that's because it is a projectile weapon that can one-shot you, and it has no splash damage, which means that to compensate for the fact that it's a projectile and not hit scan, instead of splash damage, they gave it a large projectile size instead. Which is really the only way to go with it. But I'm thinking that maybe they take the Hanzo and Overwatch route and perhaps give it a little more speed, give it a little more versatility. Because right now people call it the Luxman for good reason. A lot of times you are just shooting shit, going for Hail Mary shots and just hoping that your enemy walks into it, which is always kind of the case with projectile weapons in general, because you can never predict your opponent's movement 100% of the time. I mean, the good players will always predict their opponents with pretty good accuracy, but in general, there's never a way to be 100% accurate with it. You're not going to see any players hitting all their shots with a weapon like the Huntsman. That's just not feasible because of the nature of the fact that it's a projectile weapon. If that makes any sense. I don't know if I'm even making any sense right now, but basically my view on the Huntsman is, it actually reminds me of this one Overwatch PTR update, which PTR is playable test region in Overwatch. It's basically a separate version of the game where they test out stuff that could potentially make it in the game, but they're not. I mean, usually the stuff that goes in the PTR almost always ends up in the game. It's usually, if it goes in the PTR, it's just for bug testing and stuff. And well, now there's an experimental mode in the actual game for like balance changes. But anyways, I'm talking too much about Overwatch now. But basically, there was a PTR update that actually didn't end up in the game, which is where they made projectile sizes all their actual size. So Hanzo no longer shot logs, like giant tree trunk sized arrows. His hitbox actually masked the fact that the arrows were tiny little twigs. Basically, it was impossible to hit anything ever, and it was a terrible design decision. And it's a good thing that it never made it into the game, because it made projectile heroes just god awful. So yeah, projectile weapons in shooters and multiplayer shooters kind of need a little help, because they don't have instant travel time. So that either means splash damage or large projectile size or something. But a Hanzo in Overwatch kind of has, his projectile size isn't too huge, So he kind of has a he has other things going for him. He's got has a very fast rate of fire. He's mobility. He's got he can actually survive in a fight. He's got infinite ammo, and his projectiles travel very fast. And I think these are all things that should be considered for the Huntsman. I think first and foremost, first of all, I just want to say that Huntsman changes Sniper's playstyle so much that he's no longer a backline class. He's more of a frontline, up in your face kind of class. And one thing that you may notice about all other frontline, up in your face classes in this game is that they all have some way to survive, whether it be the soldier or the heavy with their tons of health, or the scout with his mobility. But Huntsman Sniper doesn't have either of those. So my suggestion, now this is an easy change that is kind of lazy maybe, but it would fix the problem. I think the Huntsman, just having it equipped on the Sniper, should give you either 25 or 50 additional max HP. Now I know that sounds like something that's just crazy. It's like nobody wants to fight a Huntsman Sniper with 175 health. But think about the way he is right now. If you get up close to a Huntsman Sniper with almost any class, you can just destroy him, unless he gets that quick headshot off on you. But if he's playing at if that's his optimal playstyle, is to be up close and personal, he needs that health, that survivability, because otherwise he's just gonna get shit on constantly. Because most of the time a Huntsman Sniper is easy pickings, because you just go up close to him and take him out. Unless, of course, he gets the headshot off. But that's a big if. And I think just him being in the front line, he deserves that extra health to work with. I don't think that's unreasonable. So either buff his max health up to either 150 or 175. Personally, I think 175 is not unreasonable. Giving him the same amount of health as a demo and a pyro is completely reasonable, in my opinion. Now a lot of people are thinking, well, you're giving a character with one-shot ability, you're giving him that much health? And I say, yeah, try it out. See if it works. Maybe it's too strong, but I don't think it will be. I think buffing it up to 150 still isn't enough, because that's as much as a medic or a engineer with a gunslinger. So, and if you think about those two classes, those are already really fragile. Those are two classes that, again, kind of are in the front line a little bit, at least more so than Sniper, so traditional Sniper. But I don't know. I think you should get more health. But enough about the health. Let's talk about what else we could change about the Huntsman. I think, first of all, it should have much faster deploy speed. Much faster. Because the way it is now, an enemy gets too close to you, you can't hit the headshot reliably, you switch to your melee. Okay, now he's backing up a little bit because you have your melee out. Okay, well now you're fucked, because you gotta take out your Huntsman again. But you gotta go through that whole animation. If he takes out the arrow, he loads it into the string, and he pulls it back. That's like 10 years long animation. So I think speed that up like considerably. Like Huntsman should have a new attribute, which is faster deploy speed, because that's kind of a hidden downside that it has compared to the sniper rifle, because the sniper rifle deploys real quick, and you just pull it out and boom, you can hit a no scope shot, and you're good to go. But with the Huntsman, you don't have that, because not only do you have to go through that million-year-long deploy speed, but you also have to actually draw back the arrow to fire, unlike the sniper rifle, which you just click and boom, you've shot. So you not only have to sit through the animation where he pulls it back a little bit, but then you got to pull it back all the way to get an actual shot off. So I think they should speed up that animation. And I actually think that in terms of fire speed, like fire rate, I think Huntsman could use some help with that. Because if you look at, again, I hate to keep drawing this comparison, but Hanzo in Overwatch, he can rapid fire his arrows. Now, obviously, rapid firing is not gonna do as much damage as drawing it back all the way, but at least it's an option. And even when he does pull it back all the way, it takes a very short amount of time, and I think that Huntsman should have that as well. So in summary, the changes I want to see to the Huntsman are more max HP, faster deploy speed, faster fire rate, and then I think you've got a pretty damn good weapon, actually. I do think the Huntsman can be pretty strong the way it is right now, but I think it's just not consistent enough. Again, people call it the Luxman for good reason, because the way it is right now is it's not it's sometimes you just fire and hope. You know, you gotta sometimes pray to the gods, not necessarily RNGesus, because it's not really a random number generation thing, but rather just, is your enemy gonna be where you want them to be when the arrow hits? Whether they decide to be in that position. Another change that could potentially happen is faster projectile speed, like the arrow actually moves faster through the air. I don't necessarily think that needs to happen, because I think the Huntsman, the way it is now, is it makes Sniper into a mid and short range class. And the slow projectile speed makes it so that he can't really reliably hit shots from far away, and I don't think he should be hitting shots from far away, other than, you know, the occasional lucky, like, oh, we're gonna fire it into that enemy sniper far away and hope that he doesn't move. Yeah, I don't think faster projectile speed necessarily needs to happen. I think the changes that I mentioned should happen, though. I don't know. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, because Valve doesn't update this game anymore, and when they do, all they add is cosmetics. So, like, but I don't know, it's fun to speculate about what could be in an alternate universe where Valve gives a shit about Team Fortress 2. You know, any other developer would have gotten rid of the bot crisis a long time ago, because that's not an issue that happens in any other game. So yeah, but that's an entire another discussion for another time. Oh. Yeah, that's pretty much it. My opinion. I don't know.
I want the Huntsman.